Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Swordhaven. And in this episode, as I said last time, we're going to be heading into the inn to question some witnesses. Not suspects, witnesses. Let's see what we have here. There's a fellow over here, a fellow over here. He's got quite a fancy, almost Renaissance, late medieval collar. Now, it is possible to mess this up. We want to make sure we speak to them in the correct order. Ah, yes, I think we're good. The wiry fellow inclines his head to acknowledge you. His voice bears an unfamiliar accent. Hello. Is there something I can help you with? By your accent, I guess you're not from around here. Like my pigments and dyes, I come from all over the place. Pigments and dyes? Where do you get those? The white is best purchased from the farms, where they burn a lot of animal bones. Grasses like woad and greenweed grow almost everywhere, but only the eastern folks bother to collect and prepare them in bulk. For some of my wares, I have even had to negotiate with a shipping company in Swordhaven. But that was for the strongest, most eye-popping blood red you've ever seen. Totally worth it. Voodoo Kid adds his 5 dinars. I thought red dye came from madder. It grows all over the world. Indeed, madder is the way to go, unless you're in the market for something potent beyond compare. This other dye, how they say, spits on madder. And what sort of dye is that? Cochineal. It does not come from a plant like a nut or bark, but rather from a bug that lives on the Southern Isles. The locals gather it in vats. Then they crush it. And what comes out is... but there is no way to show you. When I was 15, I had a school friend who told me about cochineal. It was a food colouring that he is allergic to. And that's how I'm familiar with the name and how to pronounce it. I hope he's doing alright these days. I haven't seen him in... yeah, probably about 25 years, pushing 30 years. So, yeah, I hope he's doing alright. I have lost my very last tube of this pigment on the road, perhaps even in this very hamlet. I did not realize until I unloaded the goods for my stay. Did that cost you a fortune? Oh no, there was but a tiny smidgen of the stuff left. I was saving it for demonstration purposes, so he could take orders to get some more. Is it a profitable venture, selling dyes out here in the wilderness? Well, demand would be higher, I presume. I sell very few goods in the provinces. I am here for the rare snails that can be found in the town of Clamreach. These creatures produce a very lovely shade of... what do they call it? Smaragdine. Well, it sounds like you definitely know your craft. He smiles. As for where I am from, I come from the serene Republic of Zunfaer, known for its rosy-cheeked milk maidens and men of entrepreneurial talents. And how did you get all the way out here, then? The road called to me, then my empty coffers and my father's expectations joined the chorus. Not circus, chorus. I answered, and I haven't looked back since. Well, what can you tell me about this place? I don't know much about the local politics or customs. I advise you to speak to the people who actually live here. Of course, and could you introduce yourself so I know who I'm talking to? Please call me Mulstarm Femanfen. Let's do that again. Please call me Mulstarm Femanfen. And what is your name? My name is... Yes, Gwyneth of the Lakes. He smiles. Now we know each other's names. Or, how they say in my country, tis for tats. Sounds a bit like tit for tat, doesn't it? What do you know about Fireman's murder? I was here when this tragedy happened, and I know that 2 people were jailed for it. One of them lived in this very inn, but that is all I can tell you. I see. Well, off I go then. Thank you for your assistance. He bows courteously.
Nice and smooth.
That is probably our massive magic teleportation chest. Let's not mess with that. But hey, there's a fellow over here. This nattily dressed and armed man cradles a stein of some foul-smelling liquor. Hello?
Huh? What? His eyes flick upwards. Did something happen, good woman?
Shrug and say nothing. No, we're playing a priestess. I think you ought to lay off the booze a bit, sir.
Everyone's a chuffing souse in these parts.
So you're not local then?
Nay, but Dragon knows I'm trying my best to fit in.
I see. What are you drinking?
Rundelt cracker. A most disagreeable beverage, but it gets the job done.
I see. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions.
Huh? Yeah, sure.
Who do I have the pleasure of addressing?
I am Sir Zelker of House Falconer, Lieutenant in the Patrician Guards.
He bows without getting out of his chair somehow. If you're a lieutenant, where are your troops?
We have a camp west of town by the river, but I need to get away from the men sometimes and gather my thoughts, words and commands and all that.
I see, something else. What's your business here in Grainhold? Well, getting drunk, obviously.
My only business is ensuring that Swordhaven's laws are strictly enforced.
He scratches his cheek. Let's see if the microphone picks that up.
But here in Grainhold, we're patrolling the river.
But slavers and bandits roam and reeve unchecked in these parts.
Oh, we're doing the best we can. Don't worry, good woman. Every one of those ne'er-do-wells will get their comeuppance.
I see. Have you heard any interesting rumours lately?
I heard tell of an unsavoury character named Bloodclaw. A citizen who managed to escape his clutches said his men prefer to target lone travellers out on the road.
I've met this Bloodclaw and would like to do so again under better circumstances.
But neither the Patrician Guard nor the local authorities were able to catch him.
I see. Well, let's change the subject for a moment. He sighs and returns his attention to his stein. Ugh. What do you know about Fireman's murder?
I wasn't in Grainhold when it happened. In any event, I'd leave the investigation to the bailiff and his men.
Right, got it. Well, I'll be going now.
He shrugs. Stop by later.
Now, he hasn't been particularly helpful, but we may meet with him again. And I'm being summoned. Alright, so it's about 18 hours later for me, just a few seconds later for you. I absolutely was called upon to be of assistance. Basically what happened is my father got too uncomfortable in bed and he wanted to come down and sleep in his chair in the next room. And half the panels are missing from the door of this room. So after I'd helped him get dressed and get downstairs and get comfortable and made sure he was warm enough down here, I had to basically be quiet. And it was also like 6:30 in the morning anyway, so I didn't really get to record. And I'm pretty sure I've dozed off a few times on the sofa over the course of the day, but basically it's now gone midnight and he's been up there for about 3/4 of an hour now. I think I've been checking the contents of a parcel that arrived to make sure everything is exactly as it should be, and almost everything is. All of the things that should be in the box are safe and correct. The internal box, not the external one. The box that all the things are supposed to go into is split halfway down one side. And while I'm not entirely sure it was split when it arrived, it was split within, I didn't hear it split, and I noticed it shortly after removing it from the outer box and all the packaging that was wrapped around it. So even if I accidentally caused some of that damage, it doesn't look... Here's the important thing. It's a very clean break. It doesn't look much like a tear. It looks like a cut. And I didn't cut along that part of the outer packaging, because I cut along the top of the box, and this is down the bottom, left-hand side, essentially, at which was surrounded by heavy foam, which was removed without any cutting necessary. Although it was such a tight fit that I had to tilt the box sideways and slide it out, and even then that was difficult, and that could be when the damage occurred. I can't say for certain. I suppose what I should have done is tip the whole thing upside down, at the risk of potentially damaging all the contents, cut the bottom out of the box, and lift the box off of it. But that would have involved tipping the whole thing upside down. So anyway, yeah, I will contact the guys who sent it and be like, hey, look, your box is split. Basically, send them a couple of photographs and prepare to just stick some gaffer tape on it if they say, mate, we don't have a spare box, So, all that being said, I believe we finished speaking to Sir Jelka, and we've also spoken to Mulstarm Fermanfen. Here's the innkeeper, and we are, I believe, still investigating. Let's go speak to this individual, who is simply called Man for now. That's likely to change when we get to know him. Strazd the Minstrel. This slender man looks you over. My lyre's siren call is all enticing, attracting both the boring and exciting, he bows. What brings you to Strazd's abode, fair lady? Oh, do you play the lyre? His eyebrows leap up in surprise. Why, I'm the one who made this wondrous instrument famous throughout the land. I must admit, I love the sound of a lyre. Then you are a woman of uncommon taste, my lady. The lyre is the queen of instruments, and I both the instrument's king and its humble servant. Hear it cry with joy beneath my fingertips. Quickly sliding the lyre from under his belt, Strazd improvises a sweet, albeit fleeting melody. Ah, most pleasing. He leans closer. Some even believe my chords and lyrics have the ability to bewitch. He steps back with a guileful grin. "I can neither confirm nor deny such claims." And he won't confirm or deny it for me either. A good magician must keep his secrets as a miser hoards his coin. I see. Well, what do you know about Fimon's murder? I loathe speaking of such gruesome matters, but I'm sure the village commoners will appreciate that I do indeed have a song about recent events in the works. I mean, who'd have guessed the law would so swiftly apprehend the slayer of that ill-starred innocent Lyman? Or was it... help me out here, Cymon? I simply must turn this into a ballad. Fimon, I heard you yourself fingered one of the suspects. Or I could go, could you concentrate and tell me what happened the day of the murder? Yeah, in your own words, mate. Let's see what he comes out with. He takes out his lyre again. Life oft imitates art, and on that fateful eve it evoked my famous ballad, Strazd's Possession. The stars were dim and murder was afoot. He touches the strings and they sing to his words. I fell asleep at dawn, lulled into slumber by thoughts of performing in Swordhaven. It wasn't until evenfall that I woke. I understand. Continue. And what did I see? Why, the murderer himself, that hateful spoony-barred Erez, sleeping nearby, his mockery of a hat stained a most vivid red. The very colour of blood, the life-bearing humour that only the most uncouth of men desire to spill. Why were you sleeping during the day? I must confess, the murderer and I had been drinking the night before, a time-honoured pastime among bards. I see, and you two were also sharing a room together. Well, we're both musicians. We found ourselves visiting the same town. We decided, in spite of any minor personal differences, to save a little money by splitting the rent. I see. What are those differences exactly? Creative ones. And, well, no, I guess that's all. Oh, you were about to say something. Come, my friend, you can confide in me. Oh, very well. Some time ago we were both courting the same woman, a very wealthy widow. But while my interest was purely romantic, that cad was only in it for the money. You say that as if you're projecting a little. Erez's serpent tongue helped him best me, but the widow ultimately chose some vulgar nobleman as her new pet. Ugh! Neither of us won, but, as you might imagine, a lingering resentment remained. I see, and what can you tell me about Erez? He's as artless as a greasy tallow catch. I would have thought him too cowardly for murder, but deep down everyone knew Erez would snap sooner or later. Oh, that's interesting. What do you mean by snap, exactly? Yes, think about it. The man's talentless, unpopular, and none of his peers respect him. To top it all off, he prefers to entertain drunks at peasant weddings rather than the noble and moneyed. I mean, we all do that occasionally, but Erez has made a career out of it. He smirks. I say career. Too grand a term for that lumpkin. And what do you think would make him snap exactly? The utter pointlessness of his tacky existence. What else? I see, and when did you wake up? Early evenfall. I was sleeping during the day, you see. Yeah, I think I understand. As I already mentioned, the vile Erez was snoring, his bloodied hat perched atop his crown. I inquired around the inn and quickly discovered that foul murder had been committed on that very day. It took me a couple of hours to muster enough courage to lift the hat from the still sleeping beast's head and rush to see the bailiff. And that's the whole story. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have an epic to compose. Gintar elbows you gently and says in a low voice, in case you weren't paying attention 18 hours ago before you had to go and spend a whole day doing stuff. Sister, do you remember speaking with the dye merchant earlier? He mentioned having lost a rare red pigment. The minstrel quickly interjects. Excuse me, I don't quite catch what you were saying. Oh, I just remembered an interesting coincidence. A dye merchant who happens to be staying at this inn told us he'd lost a bright red pigment. So red, in fact, one might even mistake it for blood. The minstrel turns pale. Well, him losing such a thing is of course unfortunate. I see. I'm curious who might have taken it. I'm sorry. Where are you going with this? You didn't by chance find it yourself, did you, Strazd? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I did find it in the dust along the roadside, and it's mine by finder's right. Oh, not a problem. Just give me the dye, and I'll return it to the merchant. I'm certain he'll compensate you for the find. Well, I don't have it anymore, all right? It's all used up. Used on what, exactly? He glances around the room. I seem to have forgotten. And here we have the sentence that says it all. You put the paint on the hat. Fie on you! Yes, all right, Erez is innocent. I was trying to do you all a favour, by the way. That man's music is almost bad enough to kill. A few more months of his malfeasance and whole crowds would fall dead from his cacophony. Let's see, we got... Aha! You falsified the evidence to have your rival hanged. I would have done the same, but then I wouldn't have cracked so easily. Fix your inscrutable gaze upon the dastardly minstrel, or you disgust me to doom a man over something so trivial. Let's see, the righteousness of the clergy, or... No, I think I'll go for the first one. Aha! To let him know I fully understand what has occurred. You falsified the evidence to have your rival hanged. His eyes fall to the floor. Yes, there was bad blood between me and Erez. I wasn't thinking straight, but when the deed was done, I was too ashamed to tell the truth. Do you know who really killed Phaimon? No, honest to dragon this time. Right, you're coming with me. Don't you understand? Now the bailiff will hang me instead. He raises his hands and starts chanting something. A spell, perhaps? Let me go, I say with dread. If you refuse, I'll haunt thy head. As shadows loom, a curse I'll throw. So heed my words and let me go. We got intellect or action. O dragon who dwelleth in the blissful hills, curl up in a ball and let the vile sorcerer escape. No. Cut the bafflegab. Surely you don't think I'm that stupid? Yikes! What's that over there? You quickly turn to see what he's pointing at so excitedly, but then the treacherous minstrel produces a lit firecracker. Catch! Blinded by the flash, you rub furiously at your eyes with one fist while throwing punches at the air with the other. Meanwhile, Strazd escapes. That bloody songster! Just wait till I get my hands on you! Gah! When you finally open your eyes, the malicious musician is long gone. But you did gain a valuable new information for the bailiff. Now, believe it or not, that's the easier portion of the investigation.
I'm on it.
I think our work here is done. It would be nice to go back to the merchant and let him know we found out what happened to his dye. The inn patron greets you a polite smile. You are back again. It is a pleasure, of course. We can't tell him about his dye. He bows courteously. And with that, we will head out the other door. Now, the next portion of our investigation is going to get a little more tricky, and it's very easy to miss. Shall we ever see Strazd the Minstrel again? During at least most, if not all, of the early access period, it was not possible to meet him a second time. However, we were informed by the developers that we would absolutely be able to meet him again in the future. I don't know if they added him in before release or at release, but he's supposed to be around somewhere, and we can meet him and gain our revenge. Now, I'm just going to do a quick recording check while we're loading. All looks good. Excellent. Oh, no. Alright, good. That's better. Hey, and we're outside. Right.
Nice and smooth.
Let's go visit the well, which seems to be awkwardly highlighted from our alt-tabbing. Right. Before you stands the village well. Its old cobblestone foundation is cloaked in moss, its wooden frame dark and beaded with moisture. Let's throw a coin into the well. A coin thrown into a well is said to bring good luck. Are you sure you want to go ahead? Yes, absolutely. You can barely make out a splash of the coin hitting the water, yet you feel this tiny donation has been recorded somehow by a force both ineffable and unknowable. Let's drink from the well. You're not thirsty right now. Really? Okay. Well, no time to stand around the well. Can we... There we go. Got rid of the constant highlighting. Now, what to do? I think I'm going to save my throat a little and head on out and do a little more exploration. Oh no, wait, this is... It would be nice to take a nice break and go and explore this portion of the map a bit. Clear out some more. But actually, it's in our best interest to... Oh, have we? We have. In our best interest to just complete the investigation and move on. So, at this point, I'm in a slightly awkward situation.
Fine, I'll do it.
Once we complete the murder investigation, we can have one of the two suspects as a party member. It doesn't matter which. But we can only have one. I experimented off screen earlier today when I was waiting to record, and the new party member joined at the very beginning of 3rd level. Now, I don't know if that's because Lyris was still 3rd level, and thus the lowest party member, because Gintar had made it up to 4th by that point, and if they would have joined at 4th if she was not present. Or if that is just their set amount of experience to arrive at, in which case it's best I do this now, isn't it? So, first off, let's come into the herbalist place once more and just clear out a little more of the map.
Okay.
And once we're done with that, we can continue the murder investigation. Now, there is an annoyingly difficult side quest here that we may not be able to complete, but I'll be giving it a try in the not too distant future. Now, if that's the other thing, right? The other party member who is in the outskirts of Swordhaven has been reported as joining at level 3 as well by somebody else on the forums. As I said in early access, when I got that party member, she joined as level 4, so it could be related to the overall party level. However, if we can go pick her up soon rather than later, that is to say, we can finish the murder investigation, cross the river, and head on down to Swordhaven, pick up the character, then return here and continue with our adventuring. That seems like a bit of a dumb way to do things, but it may be for the best. Let's speak to Ojka. This shabby-looking fellow stares coldly at you as if you owe him money.
You Outlanders are nothing but a pain in my backside. A whole mess of barbarian-loving, lazy fopdoodles and shrews, every last one of you.
Excuse me, I'm a Wadelot. Show some respect.
A Wadelot, you say? Gosh, alright. Apologies and all that, sister.
You mentioned something about barbarian-loving Outlanders passing through the village.
He nods eagerly. Just a couple of days ago, a whole gang of crazies passed right through Grainhold. And where do you think they was aiming to go? Some kind of magical city up in the mountains where normal folks and barbarians, highborn and lowborn, all live together like in some fairy tale. Bah! Or take those blighters who set up camp outside the village. They work them all sorts of low lives. I just can't figure why the bailiff don't round them up and get to hanging.
A city in the mountains, you say? Do tell me more.
That's all I know. I reckon it's some kind of trap. I bet them Night Army fellas lure in gullible folks and swipe their stuff far away from any law or help.
All the slavers do. And what about that camp outside the village?
Bandits and crooks all lulled up together. I heard their goons bring all sorts of weird gear to the village. Singing stones, shiny crystals, golden eggs.
He makes a protective sign.
Good people ain't meant to fiddle with such vileness.
I understand. Let's change the subject. The man simply nods. What do you know about Fireman's murder?
That no-good barbarian did it. I saw him dragging poor Fireman straight out of town. Tried to stop him, but by the time I fetched my axe, they were already gone. I hope they hanged him by a short rope so as he can dance like a little jig before the abyss takes him.
When did that happen?
I can't rightly recall. Was it night time? He frowns. No, it was during the day. Yeah, the sun was up high for sure.
Did the barbarian force Fireman to go with him, or did he go voluntarily?
I reckon old Fireman was forced. Or wait, was he? Sorry, memory's all foggy.
You know, I can't shake the feeling that you're prejudiced against barbarians.
If you mean, do I hate them? Heck, who doesn't? Those good-for-nothings razed my mama's old village to the ground in a raid. She was lucky to get out of there alive.
I understand, but look, don't I detect a bit of barbarian blood in you? He's got the barbarian hairstyle, and there's something about the eyes and the nose as well.
His eyes flare with a rage so hot you think for a moment he's going to jump you. That's even rubbish. My papa came from proud Kudonian stock.
He gets his emotions under control.
He died during that same rage with me still in my mama's belly.
Yeah, that's what I thought. My condolences. He might have died before you were in your mother's belly, dear boy.
Yeah, can we move on? I ain't got the time nor desire to jabber about random nonsense.
Well, I don't know. Something about this doesn't quite feel right.
Too bad, because that murdering son of a fox is going to hang.
I'd like to ask you a couple of questions now.
I ain't a question-answering kind of fella. Why don't you give it a whirl with someone else?
Perhaps I'll do that. Be seeing you, but I'll be back for at least one more question. He offers you a polite, if somewhat clumsy, parting bow. Not a parting blow. Fucking hell, if he gives us a punch just to say goodbye, that would be something. Right. So, we have fairly safely determined that Ozka has no great love for the barbarians and may be prejudiced. Also, he couldn't remember what time of day it was. He couldn't remember if the victim was forced or coerced or just going along willingly. Seems a bit sus, doesn't it? And that's about as far as the investigation is going to go, unless we head into this house over here. And then it will get a little more interesting. Why, look, there's a fellow. First off, let's just map out this area.
Nice and smooth.
We will absolutely be going outside town to do so as well in a little while. But first, actually no, we probably go towards the city. First, let's greet this individual. This snazzily dressed peasant is twirling one end of his expertly trimmed moustache. His brow furrows as you approach. Salutations. What can Coriat the Wealthy do for you? He doesn't seem very enthusiastic about offering his services up. Salutations. What can Coriat the Wealthy do for you? Probably because it's just a common greeting. In fact, you sense he'd be more than happy if you left his property. The Wealthy? An unwise declaration in these uncertain times. Oh, that's just a wee joke. My neighbours call me that because I'm so grievously poor and all. He winces. Those cheeky jackanapes. Is there any work available around here? Go ask somebody else, he crosses his arms, and take your arse off my property. What do you know about Fireman's murder? I heard my neighbour Ozka saw some barbarian chap leading that poor fella out of the village, but that's a whole lot of phooey if you ask me. What, you mean he's lying? I don't mean nothing. Just saying Ozka ain't the sharpest knife in the block. Besides, he's got a special hatred for barbarians for some reason. Probably because people keep telling me he looks like one. You talked to the bailiff, I reckon. What time did he say Ozka saw this? Well, Ozka said midday, really. Well, that's the thing. At noon that day he was talking to me about buying one of my goats. We were arguing at my house until sundown. Someone is lying. That's all I know. If the bailiff tasked you with unravelling this gruesome story, my advice is to give Ozka another shot. By the way, why didn't you speak up if you know Ozka was bearing false witness? He shrugs. It ain't my headache nor my piece of cake. Alright, got it. We'll be seeing you around, I suppose. Coriat watches you leave. Fists clenched, knuckles white. And my throat's getting really dry. I had a drink just before I started recording. I might need another one. Now I'm going to save here because it is possible to mess this up. And I may have already done so by not speaking to his mother. Let's speak to Ozka first. The peasant curses under his breath and hitches up his belt to keep his trousers from sliding off. You know, Ozka, from what I've heard, there might be a few inconsistencies in your account of Fireman's murder. You mind explaining it to me? What are you saying? I lied or something? No way! That was the purest truth I told you. Ozka's eyes dart away from your gaze. It seems he's considering how to answer. Oh, yeah, now I remember. It was my mama. She's always hanging around outside, and she saw the whole thing, told me about it. It's like I was right there. So, you didn't see anything? Great. Wait, that's the truth. My mama saw it, told me about it, and I told the bailiff. Right. We'll just leave you for now. He offers you a polite, if somewhat clumsy, parting bow.
Fine, I'll do
Let's go speak to his old mother. This old woman is looking out at the dusty village road, seemingly oblivious to the world around her. Greetings, I'm new to Grainhold. Can I ask you a couple of questions about the village? She releases a single drawn-out sigh, more like a wheeze really, and that's it. Excuse me, your son told me you witnessed a barbarian leading a young man, fireman, out of the village. Apropos of nothing, the woman starts humming some old tune. That's not the answer you were hoping for, but at least you know for sure that she's alive. Come, says Baldur Kid. Surely you can see the old dear is either deaf or blind, and perhaps a bit moonstruck as well. Gintar adds, Master Baldur Kid is right. Sister, I doubt she saw anything. Let's shake her shoulder. When you touch her arm, she opens her mouth, and for the first time you hear her cracked and weedy voice.
Is that you, Oshka? I'm all right, don't worry. Just thinking back on older times.
Gintar shakes his head. I think we've got our answer now. Let's go, sister. It seems Ozka's account may have fallen short of the truth. The peasant curses under his breath and hitches up his belt to keep his trousers from sliding off. You know, I've just been speaking to your mother, Ozka. It doesn't look like she can hear or see anything.
Don't you go speaking ill about my mama. She's just shy, that's all.
Anyway, he looks at the ground. I'm sticking with what I told the bailiff, like it or not. I doubt the bailiff will react well when he hears the truth.
I still got a whole heap of work to do, so why don't you just go on be on your way?
Alright, we'll leave him be. He offers you a polite, if somewhat clumsy, parting bow. Looks like he'd want to give us a polite parting blow, but it wouldn't be that polite. Let's go back to the bailiff. Oh, look, here he is. The bounty hunter with his dogs. Mendog the bailiff hooks his thumbs into his ornately embossed belt.
Aye?
I spoke with the witnesses.
What's your take on their stories?
Well, that no-good Strazd faked the evidence using a splash of stolen paint.
Of course, the old fake blood trick. I should have guessed, especially since there's a dye merchant in town. But what about Ozka?
Well, I think Ozka is lying. First it was his mother who saw the barbarian, not him. Then I learned she's both deaf and blind. The bailiff seems more amused than angry.
She is. That meritless pillock must have been lying through his teeth the whole time. Impressive.
Well, that's all I could find out, I'm afraid.
So they really are innocent. I knew I should have trusted my intuition. Now it's time for those liars to face the music, beginning with Ozka.
The bailiff sends a boy to fetch his deputy, who he instructs to bring Ozka to the courtyard for flogging. The deputy soon returns with a trembling false witness. Oh, this isn't going to be pleasant.
I was telling the truth, Master Mendog. I don't know why this tittle-tattle's barred mouthing me. She must be pals of that murdering bastard cunt-faced shitwanker.
Hush, you fool. Be grateful you're not going to swing in place of the accused. You lied, and that's a crime, not only against the laws of man, but in the eyes of the dragon as well. I'm sorry, but what's done in the dark will always be brought to the light. That's become a very popular phrase on the internet in the last sort of 2 years. The execution commences. Well, not execution, he's just being flogged.
Now that's that done. Now that that's done, where'd that lying minstrel get to? I'll hang him for spreading dangerous falsehoods.
I mean, he seems to be walking off, hopefully. Strazd managed to escape, I'm afraid. He threw fireworks at me.
That slippery snake. He'll get his punishment just the same, for the dragon sees all.
I doubt he was the murderer, though. It's a shame that other thing slipped away, whoever they may be.
We gotta be more vigilant next time and make that vermin pay for killing old Fireman.
Speaking of payment, he tosses you a pouch. Here's 75 dinars for your time. Thanks. We can ask him to answer a few more questions, but he won't.
Ride safe, lass.
If there was anything to ride, maybe. Now, while we're here, Erez and Kedarain have been released. And someone got a level. Brother Gintar. Most of his points are going to go into Axe and Blunt because... And we want 102 levels time. So... We'll give him a bit more outdoorsmanship. Try and push towards 50. But yeah, basically, 2 points in spears and halberds. There we go. And he gets a new weapon skill. Now, I'm tempted by both of these. Punch through. 25% extra stamina cost. Crushing damage. For this attack, the target's damage threshold is doubled and added to your damage, essentially adding their armor to the attack instead of subtracting it. Deal plus 70% weapon damage as well. So, big heavy damage. See the stars. 25% extra stamina cost. Knockdown chance 100% for 2 turns. Obviously, knockdown resistance would counter this somewhat. Affected, cannot move or act. Now, there hasn't been a lot of armor in the game so far, but there has been some. The 70% extra damage even against no armor is still good. Knowing what I know about what we're likely to be coming up against, there's a very good argument for See the Stars being a very good option. We're going to meet a lot of lightly armoured foes, and having a stun ability, a knockdown ability, is probably good. That being said, there will be at least one very heavily armoured foe who's going to be an absolute nightmare, and having the punch through ability at the time could be incredibly useful, so I'm taking that. And I'm sure it'll come in useful in the late game as well. There we are. So now, I'm going to save again. I probably shouldn't, because I'll be ending the episode soon anyway. And decide which of these 2 individuals to take with me. Now, I'm leaning heavily towards Kedarain, as he is good with a sword. And we made a 2-handed sword for him already. Erez is apparently good with a dagger. And we have a dagger user already. We don't really have a 2-handed weapon user apart from the bow. Kedarain, however, does start with Precise Poke as an ability, which is a 1-handed weapon skill. He has some outdoors skill. Now, Erez is supposed to have good conversational personal skills. The issue we have here is that the intimidation, persuasion, bluff, haggling, and possibly one other skill are only available, let's see, stealth down, stealth, lockpicking, pickpocket, crafting, medicine, stealth, lockpicking, pickpocketing, craft. Okay, outdoorsmanship, wait. Okay, no, ranged weapons. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 skills are only available to the main player character. And there's supposed to be something he is good at. He may be able to interject in conversations. He might not. From the comments section, it seems Erez has a bit of popularity. But that does mean this is your opportunity to see Kedarain in action. He's not the greatest conversationalist, he won't chime in very much, but he can stand up in a fight. And for frontliners, we've got 1, Gintar, half Gwyneth. She's getting better at frontlining, but she's not there yet. Budukid and Lyris are more support characters. So having a sneaky flanker running around with dagger stabbing people is kind of what Budukid is doing. Let's talk to them anyway. Both Kedarain and Erez the Troubadour are plainly relieved, though the stern barbarian tries to hide his emotions. The musician speaks first as he embraces you in a clumsy bear hug. I am at a loss for words. You saved our hides. You know, it was the right thing to do. Well, we don't have any money right now. But perhaps one of us could accompany you until the debt is repaid. Sounds like a grand old plan to me. Why not both of you? I've had my fill of sitting in a cage with this Erez cuts himself short. This fine gentleman.
The bard's a liability. Talks and eats too much. I don't want to die because of him.
I'm a liability? That's rich coming from some lowbrow... All right, I get it. You just like each other, but what are your strengths? Aside from my brilliant compositions, in my many ventures I've learned a bit about knife handling, daggers and such. Oh, I wonder what his unique ability actually is. That would be worth bearing in mind. One should always have a weapon ready on the road, and I find the lightest, most discreet protection works best. Now, if I'd taken the noble origin, I would have got a bard as a companion, who would have a skill that weakens herself in combat, but strengthens everyone else for the duration. It's like they get plus 15% damage, she gets, takes a bit of extra damage, deals a bit less, but she can hide at the back and she normally just shoots her crossbow anyway, so it's kind of a good booster skill. Kudonian shrugs.
I'm decent with a sword.
Very informative. He turns to you. I'm sure either of us can accommodate your needs, so choose with your heart, not your mind. You know what? Erez seems like he might not enjoy our adventuring life. He'd enjoy the excitement, but he won't enjoy the slogging through the mud and everything. Kudonian seems like he'll be a good stand-up guy in a fight who won't run away. He'll stay by our side, while Erez seems a little more flighty. Kudonian seems like the better pick, and he's a native, so he'll know the landscape better as well. The die has been cast. He glances at the road for a moment. Thank you once again for saving me. I hope I'm able to repay you in the future. Fare thee well. We may meet him indeed, whoever knows. Gazing after Erez as his silhouette slowly fades into the distance, Kudonian says,
It's a miracle he's still alive. This land is deadly for fools.
Are you sure you want to travel with me?
Why not? I'm a free man. I can do as I will.
Okay, that settles it. We'll travel together. I think I've given up on trying to make the natives not Welsh. They had a slightly more Eastern European accent, but it shifted early on, and I can't remember how it started. Okay, that settles it. We'll travel together.
Lead the way.
So now we have a new party member who has a fake level up, because some of his ability points and skill points have not been spent yet. Kudonian has skill points. We know he's good with bladed weapons, and we want him to be even better. Let's give him a little more outdoorsmanship, because if we can get it up to 50, animals will deal one less point to him, because he'll just know how to protect himself from them, and they'll feel he's more like one of them. If we put the rest of these in here, bonk. Then we get to abilities. Can we unlearn this? No. Maybe when we level up. But I think I have heard of a potion that lets us respec a character. Instead, let's look at two-handed sword skills. We have half swording, where the blade is gripped, and if gripped firmly enough and the hand does not move up and down the blade, damage can be avoided to strike with the pommel and hilt. Auto counterattack against the next two attacks. Nice. Or cleave. Deal maximum weapon damage. You become unable to move for 2 turns. We'll go with cleave. It seems like a suitably barbaric thing to do. And let's give him some protection. What do we have? Not very much, I'll tell you that. We have this bone cuirass, which will make him look suitably barbaric already. This Slurium shield, if we had a suitable one-handed sword to go with. Oh, we do, don't we? It's not a barbarian sword, but 4 to 12 damage is nice. However, we're also going to give him this Bog Iron Claymore, which has 8 to 12 damage, which is pretty decent. Lowest armor piercing 10. Parry chance plus 5. We can keep that parry chance up there, I suppose. And if we take this leather jacket and give it to him to wear under his breastplate. That does reduce Lyris's protection, but it gives him some decent protection of his own. And I'm taking this off, putting this on, and we have Hurt Me Plenty. Deal no weapon damage for using, use the skill, doesn't do any damage to enemies. Deals 60% more damage for 3 turns. Receive 100% more damage during the next 5 turns. So he's going to take heavy damage using this skill. You will have minus 25% on your chance to hit for 5 turns. So 60% damage boost for a 25% to hit penalty. And 100% extra damage for 2. That's a very negative skill to use. Will enemies target him as a priority because he's taking double damage? If we can give him enough armor, it may be worthwhile. We got 10 of these, but no one really has the right money to spend on it. Alright, let's move out. So there is one more companion we can obtain in our playthrough, and I think we should endeavour to do so fairly swiftly. That will, however, wait. While we are here, there are a couple of items. A short handle and medium handle someone has been carving. I'm not going to be robbing the town because I'm not playing a thief type character. But we should try to persuade the... I know the farmer wants our help to protect him from the hairy legs. But I think we really want to pick up one more party member before we can. There's something over here in the darkness there that I really want to get to the bottom of. A mystery that has plagued me since long in early access. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle it, but there we go. And you know what? I think I'm going to end here by this fine woman. And just to give my throat a bit of a rest. And then I'll continue in the next episode. I hope you've all enjoyed this one, and it'd be interesting to know what your thoughts are on me choosing between Erez and Kedarain. See you all next time, guys. Bye for now.